Is there something you're talking about but not yet doing? That's the question that I find in Ruth chapter 1. During the book of Judges, several things happen that are not recorded in Judges but are recorded in other books of the Bible. This is where Ruth falls in. During this 400-year period of darkness in Israel, when there's no king and a lot of bad things are happening, there was a man named Elimelech. His name means, "My God is King." And he comes from a town of Bethlehem, and Bethlehem means the house of bread. The problem is, neither one of these things were true. It was not the house of bread. There was a famine, and there was a famine because God said whenever Israel goes away from God, there's going to be famine. So he decides to leave Bethlehem and sojourn. That means he's going to go back to Bethlehem, but he's going to go and look for food elsewhere because the house of bread didn't have any. And he has to cross over the Jordan and go back to the not promised land, the land of, wilderness, really. And so he takes his wife, whose name is Naomi, and her name means pleasant, and his two sons, Mahlon and Chilion. And as they're over in this land of Moab, Elimelech dies. He never even gets to go back to Bethlehem. And his two sons, they take wives, and they take wives of the Moabites, and they're not supposed to do that either. And in the course of time, over about a 10-year period, both of these sons die. Mahlon and Chilion die. Now you've got Naomi and her two daughters-in-law, Orpah, who's actually Oprah was named after, but her mom transposed two letters on the birth certificate, and she was Oprah instead of Orpah. And the other one is Ruth. And Naomi says, you know what, you guys, we're in the worst situation. We're ladies. We have no jobs, no husbands. All we can do is beg. You're better off just going home to your own moms and letting them take care of you. I'm going back to Bethlehem. She'd heard maybe something was going on back there that was okay or better, but she just says, we're sunk together. Well, they both cry and they say, no, we won't leave you. And she says, no, you must leave. You need to go back to your parents. And Orpah says, all right. And Jewish scholars, they make up stories and stuff. They said she cried 4 tears and she walked 4 miles back home. But Ruth said, no way. I'm not going to go. I'm not leaving you, and your God is going to be my God. And she goes back to Bethlehem with Naomi. And when she gets back there, everyone recognizes her. They're like, Naomi! And she says, no, that's not my name anymore. Call me Mara. It means bitterness. She did not gloss over the fact that she was really under the judgment of God, that things were not good. And I think this is amazing for Christians to think about. You know, a lot of times we gloss over things like, no, things are good, when really things aren't good. And she just said, hey, no, things aren't good. And so what happens in the rest of the story is amazing. We're going to look at that tomorrow. But I do want you to focus on one thing. You've got 2 daughters-in-law. One says, oh, we'll never leave you, and then leaves. And the other one says, I am not leaving you, and doesn't leave her. One was a person that talked, and one was a person of action. A lot of times we talk. We say things that are godly and spiritual, but we never do it. There's no hope for those of us that do that. We can know something, but knowing it doesn't matter. We have to do the will of God. James put it this way in James 1:22, but be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. What do you need to do today?